Hello, in this video we're going to talk about options for creating tables in Google Docs, and we'll also briefly talk about add-ons and help, since those are two small topics. You may have noticed that I've skipped over the options under Insert and the options under Tools, and that's because they're more involved, and we'll develop a series of videos for those particular items. Okay, to start with, when we want to insert a table, you should place your cursor in the location where the table is going to be placed. You go to Table, Insert Table, and you can simply drag out the number of rows and columns that you'd like to start with. Now I'm just going to start with 4 columns and 2 rows. And in there I'll type some information about headings. Now, data inside a table can be formatted using the standard formatting toolbar. No problem there. Okay, but we'll want to go back to the table option to adjust the table. So, very important thing with tables is you have to recognize where your cursor is. So if I am in this cell, these options are going to do something slightly differently than I'm in this cell. So let's say that I am in the teacher cell and now I want to insert a row above. So that's how I get a blank row above the one that's already there. I could have inserted a row below. Now, why did that happen? It seemed like it went above. Well, it's because I was no longer in this row. If I wanted to go below this row, I have to be clicked there. In the same way, we can insert columns to the left or to the right, and notice that the widths auto resize to accommodate the extra columns. I can also delete a row. Now I don't want to do that now because I'm selected in the top row, but if I were to select multiple rows or some part of multiple rows, I could delete those rows in their entirety. All I have to do is be selected in one cell of a particular row. I can also delete columns. I could delete the entire table if I chose to. And if by grabbing and dragging the borders, we can set the width of the individual columns. Of course, if I go back and choose distribute columns, it's going to make them all equal again. Or distribute rows for that matter. It's going to make them all the same height. So nice convenient feature to do that. I can go into table properties, and this is where I can do a little fine-tuning. I could choose, say, white and 0, and my table borders will disappear. But in most cases, I'd like to have them visible. So I've reset it to black, and I'm going to increase the width, just to show, just to give you an example. And I can also choose a background color. So I can give one or more of my cells a background color. You can see again that because I was only clicked in one cell and had not selected the entire group, that only one cell received that background color. So it's important to know where you are in a table and what is selected. Let's just apply that to all of those. And let's also change the alignment. So this is the vertical alignment, the up and down alignment in the cell, and I'm going to change that to the center. So these will come down a little bit. So there we go. Let's enter the table one more time to look at any additional options. Okay, so you can see that this column width was set. This was set when I distributed the columns, so it just figured out what each should be and checked that. If I want to move them, I don't really need to uncheck it. I can just always grab and drag one, and that will uncheck the box. Also, the thing that made these the same height was setting this minimum row height, which was calculated on the tallest row. If my table were not the full width of my document, if it was only half wide, I could decide whether it was aligned left, center, or right. If I do align it left, I can put in a value here to make it indented a certain amount off that left edge. Okay. So I think because we were full width already, it's now pushed into this margin, which is probably not a good idea. I can adjust that by hand if I need to. Okay, those are the basics of tables. Very useful for displaying data. Next, we're going to look at something called add-ons. And I had mentioned previously that there were some equation extensions that would allow us to be a little more sophisticated with our equations in Google Docs. So that's an add-on. So I'm going to click Get Add-on. Maybe I'll just search for equation. And you can see Formula Editor, GMath. They have ratings beneath them. You can try them and uninstall them very, very easily if you don't like them. So all you would have to do is click on that button. It's going to tell you the types of things it will have access to. So it's going to be able to view my email address, know who I am on Google, view and manage my spreadsheet settings. So there's a bit of things that it can do, because this can also work in Sheets as well. And if I decide to allow that, I can now use that to create math expressions. Now I'm not going to go into the whole interface of GMath, but that's how add-ons in general as a principle work. If I decide I've tried this and I don't like it or I don't need it, I can go to Manage Add-ons. And here's GMath, so I'm going to go to Manage. And I can simply remove. I can get help on it, I can report an issue, so I can say something's not working right or there's a problem, but I can also just simply remove it. Now you can see that I don't have add-ons. The last menu item up here is Help. And you can use this to report a problem, to report some type of abuse, to see the keyboard shortcuts that are available in Google Docs. So lots of people like to use the keyboard instead of the mouse. Certain things are much faster that way. If you don't have to remove your mouse, your hands from the keyboard in order to get to the mouse. So those are worth exploring. And there's also this nice targeted Google Help, where when you search in this area, you're going to be targeting just help on this topic. One final point I'd like to make is that while most options are available through the menu, if you right-click when you're selected in something or when you're clicked into a certain area, you're going to get a lot of those same options, but you may get some additional options. You can see this is a nice combination of different options. There's a clear formatting option here, which wouldn't be under, say, the table menu, even though we're in table. There's all the table controls. I can insert a hyperlink. I can also suggest edits right from here. So it's bringing together a lot of the different functionality, things we haven't even looked at yet, like Explore, but we'll look at in a future video. So that concludes our brief overview of tables, add-ons, and help. And in future videos, we'll look at the different options available under Insert and under Tools, which are really nice and powerful additions to the Google Docs environment.